The new Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, has said a strong dollar is not necessarily created or correlated with reserve currency status. How should we think about that? And what could this mean for treasuries, stablecoins, and Bitcoin?
I think that he's correct, because what he's actually insinuating here is that we're going to have a domestic dollar versus an international dollar. We're going to have a strong domestic dollar with soft capital controls around it, and versus however the dollar is that circulates around the world. So, and that's what the sovereign wealth is about. There's a lot here. It'll take me an hour to do it right, but let's just that's where he's going. And what does that mean for treasuries? It means that he's going to probably issue domestic only treasuries or some form of treasury security, maybe Judy Shelton's gold-backed tips or something along those lines. And it's also going to be good for Bitcoin and stable coins, because that's how they're going to distribute them. These dollars are going to be digital. They're not going to be a central bank digital currency like we've been fearing. It's going to be that kind of thing, and they will not circulate outside the United States.
Interesting. So this red wave that Trump was hired to, or that voted Trump in, this leading to all this draining of the swamp and transparency. But some people believe that as we shut down the corruption, that dries up liquidity. From your perspective as an analyst in this space, do you think that leads to a downturn in the market, or do you think this is a positive for the market?
Depends on what market you're talking about. Like, what did we see this morning that now it's official? I think more U.S. stocks are trading outside the United States within the United States. Well, that obviously needs to change. And if we're talking about how I just answered the first question, we could easily wind up with a segmented treasury market, which would then, of course, also create a kind of segmented stock market. I think if we're talking about restoring faith in the government, securities markets, which is necessary in order to keep rates low and borrowing costs down, then we'll probably wind up with churn in the equity markets. But again, at least in the short term. And then once the investment cycle starts to kick off and profit margins start to rise again, and we get the terrible overhang of fraud, waste, regulation, and all the rest of it out of the way, then sky's the limit. Bob's your uncle. Like, we could be dealing with like Trump's supposed golden age. So I think I think that's where we're headed.
I mean, this sounds a little bit to me like Javier Milei's program in Argentina. Was that a dress rehearsal? Like, is that what we're looking at on a bigger scale here in the United States?
For me, Milei is still an open book. It's still an unanswered question, because I'm still trying to figure out what he got in return for sending all of Argentina's gold to the Bank of England. So until I get an answer about that, I will reserve all good things I'll have to say about Javier Milei, because at this point he still looks like, the token crazy Austrian to run around and, do dumb things and discredit the entire movement. So if he's for real, then yes, it's a little bit of a dress rehearsal for what we're seeing in the United States. But I put large amounts of ifs around that, and I've got a deer lick sized salt block standing next to me while I say that.
Speaking of dress rehearsals, I mean, Trump and Elon keep teasing maybe a massive reduction in income tax rates, or even abolishing the IRS altogether. Is this for real, Tom? Is this a negotiating tactic? What's going on here?
I think it's a little bit of both. I honestly think that Trump wants to replace the income tax with tariffs. I think he wants to go to an old model. And again, like I said earlier, if we're talking about a domestic dollar, a kind of soft closed capital account where physical gold is kept in the country, we can speculate on dollar and FX risk with gold options or GLD options as opposed to gold futures contracts. I think if we're dealing with that, then I don't see any reason why we can't abolish the IRS, which was created by an act of Congress. The 16th Amendment authorized the Congress to give them the ability to create an Internal Revenue Service. But ultimately, this is an act of Congress that, as Peter St. Onge talked about, this is under reconciliation. We can repeal the Revenue Act of 1915 or whatever it was, and get rid of the IRS or suspend it for 10 years and then figure it out from there. and then let the American people decide if they ever want to pay income taxes again, which I'm telling you they're not going to.
They're not going to. So, I mean, this all sounds to me like the real America, like the America our founding fathers envisioned. But at the same time, when I hear the words sovereign wealth fund, and I think about our government investing in U.S. companies, I wonder if that's as freedom focused as we might like. And Bitcoiners are right; they're known for flying the Gadsden flag, right? They're known for this "don't tread on me" approach. Is everything that we're talking about here really an accurate representation of where Bitcoiners think they want the future to go?
I think Bitcoiners are going to be both very happy and very sad. Let's just make it abundantly clear. The government's not going away, but we can put a lot of it on the blockchain. Mm-hmm. Elon's already talking about putting government, receipts on the blockchain so we can see them. They can be publicly audited. That would actually change the nature of government as we've always known it. Mm-hmm. So maybe the definition of government needs to change. I'm a big fan of the Gadsden flag. I don't quite have a Florida license plate with one on it. I can get one. I never actually gotten one. And I think that that Bitcoiners our hearts are in the right place, but you have to realize that in order for Bitcoin to do what it needs to do, it has to first worm its way into stabilizing the existing system while we transition to whatever new system is going to happen over the course of the next decade, 2 decades, or however long it takes for the new system to play itself out. But we're definitely in a transition state right now.
That's a very hopeful vision. I hope you're right.
Before we let you go, Tom,
great. One more question.
Are you tired of winning yet?
No. I am tired of Donald Trump trying to feed me a 4th ribeye every day because my gallbladder can't keep up with the fat. Mr. President, please have mercy. But other than that, no, I'm not tired of winning. I don't get tired of winning. I believe in. I want to see them claw back all the money that they stole. I want to see them claw back Chelsea Clinton's house. I want to see them claw back the $3 million they spent on her wedding. I want to see them claw it all back. Absolutely. I think we should. And then give the American people a tax credit or a refund at the end of the.
So it starts with transparency and you believe it ends with freedom.
Oh, always.
Tom, you're always a fantastic guest. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thanks.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So you've heard Bitcoin is the new gold rush by now. As world leaders on all sides have endorsed it as the future of money, and now you're looking to get started, we'll show you how. It's actually easier than you think. First, go to your nearest Byte Federal ATM and turn your cash to coin. Byte Federal has over 1,200 locations around the country with the highest daily limits. Go to our website, bytefederal.com, to find the nearest ATM to you. Log in to any wallet, then create an account, deposit your US cash, and instantly convert it to Bitcoin. That's it. We are the only US manufacturer and operator in the Bitcoin ATM industry, and our US-based live customer service is second to none. Go on, give it a whirl, and don't get left behind. Click the link below.